What's going on, guys? Welcome to our newest episode of Shahs and Kings. It's your boy Shaheen. I'm out here with Weapon X Keith, and we got a guest on the show today. Her name is Bayan. She goes by the name of Persian Skater on Instagram, and she's a really unique individual. And before we get into this, I just want to say we know it's been a long time since our last episode. We kind of needed a break to kind of organize and collect our thoughts and try to figure out the direction of the show. So we're really excited to be back on. And but back to Bayon here. I think we all think she's a very unique individual. So if you go on her Instagram page, you can see her doing she's a beast when it comes to the roller skates. Did I just say rollerblades?
It's
Like
skate.
you
No, you
I
stopped yourself.
I know you.
Yourself.
Yeah. She's a
You
beast
know
with
the
the roller.
difference. That's all that
Oh my
matters.
god.
I
Hey,
here
no
honestly
in
I
lines.
honestly I don't know the difference, but I remember you posted something about it, so I remembered it. So
Shaheen,
I'm
we have
sure.
Ron roll next to our house. How do you not know the difference?
Well, people do both there, right?
No,
Like
they
you
don't.
can.
It's all roller skates, bro.
Okay, our
Like
skates.
rollerblade in the rink too.
So a
Oh, you
roller
can?
Yeah, you
Oh, I
can.
didn't know.
so roller blades are just like when it's like a straight, right? Like the wheels are
Yeah, like a
straight.
blade.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
In
skates
one
are
line.
line like a blade.
okay. So does that like offend you if I say like, yo, like she's like sick with the roller blades, or like is that like a thing? Or
It doesn't offend me. It just like lets me know that
okay.
you're not familiar with the sport.
Oh, okay. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. So, if you go on Bayon's Instagram, you can see her doing like all sorts of cool tricks. Like like she can do things that I can never even dream of doing. Like usually like vibe into like hip hop music, but lately I also see her like she makes cool videos to Iranian music, like very old school Iranian music made from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And she was nice enough to even like do some with some of my songs. So
Yeah.
much love. And we have like so much stuff to talk about because like not only do you do this, but you also run your own food truck and you also mentor people on how to run a business. So like you're a very busy human being and there's so much to you. So I guess we can just start with what how'd you start roller skating?
I started roller skating 4 years ago because my cousin bought them for me, but I wasn't really using them, even though she had bought them for me. I started using them when I had anxiety. I had the severe anxiety, and I kept going to the emergency room. And I went to the emergency room 3 times in December 2016. And then in January, I went on the fourth time, and we still didn't know what was wrong with me and why I kept coming in. And finally, they told me with the psychiatrist that it was because of anxiety and that it wasn't actually like a physical illness that I had. This was like something in my head. And um, so then I came home and I was just like crying over the fact that I had to take Xanax to be able to sleep through the night, to then be able to wake up at a good time in the morning and like get my day done, and then hopefully gain my appetite back. I hadn't eaten food in 15 days, and and then I was living at my aunt's house at the time. She's a pharmacist, of course, every Persian.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and and so she comes home and I'm just sitting there. I'm holding like the prescription. I never filled the prescription, thankfully, but I had the prescription in my hand, and I was just staring at it, just like crying. She came in. She was like, "What's going on, Tishode?" And I was like, yeah, Khale, I keep going to the emergency room. This is what happened. She's like, okay. She's like, what I want you to do is like, so my thing was every morning at 5 in the morning, I would wake up, like my eyes would open, and like I didn't want to wake up. Like I wanted to finish whatever I was dreaming about. And it was like a movie that wasn't finished yet, and I wanted to go back to it. And so I would try to go back to sleep, and then I would get nauseous. So then I would wake up and I would be super nauseous. And so, but it wasn't like I wasn't actually sick. Like it was a mental thing. I wasn't actually nauseous. And so she was like, I want you to wake up and I want you to prepare yourself from the night before. Now, my aunt has also been in the military. So one of the things that you learn in boot camp is you want to prepare tomorrow from the night before. So when you wake up tomorrow, you're like a machine out the door. You don't have to think about what you want to eat or what you want to wear or anything like that. You have everything set up. And so she was like, I want you to wear what you're going to like leave the house with. And then I want your shoes at your bed. So when you hit the floor, your shoes go, like your feet go into your shoes and you walk out the door. Don't worry about brushing your teeth or anything, and just get out the door and listen to your favorite song and like just get your vibe back. And then when you feel that knot in your stomach go away, then you can start your day. And I was like, okay. So I threw the prescription away and I like got up and got my whole thing ready because it was already nighttime. I had my whole thing ready for tomorrow, wore the outfit, did the whole thing. I woke up the next morning, put my feet out. I didn't even think. I just walked out the door. It was freezing. It was in January. It was raining outside. And I grabbed my skates on my way out and I was just like, where am I going to go? Like, what am I going to do? And I drove like 35 minutes to the beach. And during my whole drive, I had classic Persian music blasting. And I was just like jamming to it. And I was just like, I wasn't really even jamming to it, but I was kind of doing it. And then I got to the boardwalk. Um, and it took me forever to like even get from my car to the boardwalk, but it took my mind off of like my anxiety and it put it to like, how do I not fall and like hurt myself? And it had just been raining and the floor is wet and I'm trying to skate and I don't even know how to skate. And then like the next day I did it again. I did it again. And like by the second month, I was rolling on the boardwalk and like strangers were smiling at me because I was just smiling, jamming to my music. And then it became my thing. And I did it. And I just haven't stopped doing it.
That's a wild story. And
Yeah.
you said like it. So the moment you put on your skates, like you went out of your mind and kind of into your body, like you're trying to figure out, like instead of focusing on what's going on here, you're like, it's like a survival kind of mechanism. You're like trying to, like, how do I not fall now, right? It's like
Yeah.
this. Is it called, what is it called? Like fight or flight or fight when like we
Hmm.
can't, where you don't have time to focus on like what's in here because we're literally trying to make sure we don't fall and break our bones, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
that kind of saved you in a way. And like, have you? And obviously, this is like you opened up like so many, very personal. So if you're, did you have any of those episodes come back after you started to learn how to skate?
Yes. So it took about 2 weeks for it to like go away, where that 5 a.m. like wake up like with anxiety feeling went away. Night sweats, like just the whole like it was very physical illness, but it was a mental illness. And that went away after like 2 weeks ish. But a year and a half later, I had a retinal detachment and I had two eye surgeries in my right eye. I lost my vision on both eyes for like 10 days, and because of the surgeries I had. I did preventative surgery on my left eye and then my right eye was already detached. So we had to like reattach it. And I couldn't skate for a whole year. So during that whole year, like
You couldn't
it was
speak,
skate. I couldn't
skate.
skate
Oh,
a whole year, yeah, because
oh, okay.
I had eye surgery, and
Yeah.
I couldn't even walk. Like I wasn't allowed to walk around because when you walk around, like your whole body's kind of shaking. So when you have eye surgery, you're not allowed. You just have to be like face down for the first month. You're like you can't. This pandemic was very like it was smooth riding for me being stuck at home because I was stuck at home, but I wasn't like face down into a pillow, like can't move, stuck at home.
Yeah.
So, um, but I couldn't skate, and I could because I couldn't skate. I was my biggest fear was like I finally overcame my anxiety and I found a solution for it, but like now I can't do it. But what I replaced it with was motivational speakers. So it's not it's not the act of skating. It's really the mental shift. It's the focus. That's why like earlier before the call we were talking a little bit. I was talking about the first thing I do in the morning when I wake up is my favorite thing. Like, I wake up for me. So when I do my favorite thing, it sets me up to be in a good mood all day because I already did my favorite thing. So like, what else can go wrong? Like, I already had the best time of my life this morning when I woke up instead of like dragging around. So
Do you
that's,
find
I
that?
hope that's the question.
No, no, I and that's a good way because some people would do that like kind of at the end, and me and you talked about this before, where you say when you're having a productive day, you also want to reward yourself. And that's like, the R. I think you had this thing called like SMART, right? SMART.
Star, yeah.
So yeah, and
Smart,
yeah, I think
smart goal setting.
yeah, and like the R stands for reward. And um, do you find it an issue that if you do what you love in the beginning, then like it kind of bums you out for the rest of the day? It's like, all right, now I had my fun. Now I gotta do the things I don't like. Which depending on the who you are and like what you do, but like, is that like, did you ever find that to be an issue that like you got because you skating is like your favorite thing to do. So when you get
Yes.
that out of the way, like, do you still manage to get excited for what's to come for the rest of the day?
So if we go back to the smart goal setting, when we talk about reward, skating is my favorite thing to do, and I deserve it. It's not my reward. It's what I deserve to do when I wake up in the morning. Is I deserve to wake up for me. So I
Mm.
do my favorite thing first. The reward for my for my own discipline, like if I've set a reward for something, it'll be something like getting my nails done, or taking myself shopping for $100, or getting lunch with my best friend, or something that I don't get every day. But skating is my passion. It's why I'm here. I'm here to skate, and I'm here to enjoy my life, and I'm here to move my body, and I'm here to stay healthy. So that's not a reward, that's a necessity. So I have to do it every single day, and I want to do it every single day. So that sets me up for like
It's kind of like
this really
breathing.
energized person.
Yes, as I was saying, like it was kind of like breathing for you. It's like if you do it every single day and because you love it and like you feel like you kind of need to do it, right? That's pretty cool. And um, I think you talked. I don't know. You I I mean if I bring this up, this whole interview might go into a different direction. So I might just ask this question once, and we can move on. Uh, because this is like a curiosity I always had, not with you specifically, but like the whole mental health industry in general. If you're open to talk about this, but
Yeah, I am.
do you often do you oftentimes feel like uh people just prescribe these Xanax, Prozac, whatever it might be, like even though like there might not be like a proper diagnosis because I mean like you put on those skates and you never had to fill those you never had to fill that
No.
prescription, and I feel like so many people, I mean maybe there are people who need that kind of medication and I don't judge it at all, but I feel like so many people who get prescribed that stuff don't actually, there are better ways. And I feel like
Yeah,
sometimes these drugs can do some long-term damage, you know?
yeah. So first of all, just like a disclosure for anyone watching in the future, like, we're not doctors, so
Right,
don't
right, right, right.
take everything we're saying with a grain of salt. But to answer that question, that's what I felt. And one of the things that that when you do the things that you love often, you actually live with intention. You pay attention to like your gut feeling. And one of the things that I had gone to this emergency room, like I said, 4 times, and on the fourth time, after they had run all the tests, and they had done all the x-rays, and I did extra x-rays, and they didn't recommend it because it was too close of a time. I did all of it because I wanted to know what was wrong with me. And when the psychiatrist came in, she spent 8 minutes with me, exactly 8 minutes. And within 8 minutes, she gave me the strong medication that that I would be possibly addicted to for the rest of my life, because she even said, I'm going to start you off with something that's in the Xanax family, but it's not necessarily Xanax. But once you take this for about 10 days, you're going to go to your primary care doctor and they're going to upgrade you to a stronger medication, which means that my stronger medication at some point is not going to work with my body anymore, and my body is not going to like answer to it the way it's supposed to, and then I have to upgrade. So it's I'm now going to be a drug addict on Xanax because I didn't want to like move my body, which when your body is screaming at you, whether it's in the form of like like with mine, it was like, with the nausea and stuff, but it's telling you something. Whenever you get sick, whenever like, if God forbid somebody gets cancer, like your body's telling you that like we're rejecting something that you're doing and we need you to reshift your focus. So at this, like, you just want to listen to what your body's asking you, like what it needs, right? It's telling you what it needs. And for me, my body was telling me, hey, you're spending 9 hours a day selling insurance, you're sitting in front of a computer, and you're not moving your body. You need to move. Like, the only time I would be moving my body is during the weekend when I would go clubbing. So like, I mean, yes, I don't think that the drugs that are being prescribed out there are being prescribed with the best intentions every single time. It really depends who your doctor is and what kind of relationship you have with that doctor, how busy that doctor is, and how much thought and care they put into you before they prescribe to you. So it really depends on that, and it sucks because a lot of us are getting sucked into this like pop a pill, pop a little pill, it'll save your life.
I completely understand. First of all, I just want to applaud you for being able to recognize that there was something going on with yourself that you needed to change, which was very important. Once you recognize that, no matter what it is, you're able to, like, again, shift your focus, as you say, and be able to take care of yourself and your own self needs. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent, and
Yeah.
this podcast about you. Although I have my own stories with my own stuff, and I can relate to you, I'll go and I'll just leave it at that. Um,
Okay.
but no, we could talk about that another time.
Yeah.
But what but again, just focusing on, in terms of mental health now that you've transitioned and you've shifted at it and you've slowly gone over your anxiety and you're in this groove, you're skating now. What initially started the transition towards, now I am doing something I enjoy, towards I'm doing something I'm enjoying, but I'm also finding a way to use that as a motivational tool to inspire or reach out to others. What started that off for you?
To be honest with you, Persian Skater was my like second breakthrough in life. Like, Persian Skater was built after I was back to my story of my retinal detachment, and like a number of things happened in like a matter of a month and a half. Like one of those like when it rains it pours kind of situations. And during my most vulnerable time, I got into a relationship. My gut was screaming no, my entire family was screaming no, my friends were screaming no, but I got into a relationship. This relationship was the most powerful relationship I've ever been in, and it like taught me so many things. But um, when we broke up, I knew that like I realized like the amount of time I have, and I was like, I want to make a difference, and not for anybody else. At the time, it was only about me. And I was like, I want to make a difference in my life. So I was like, I'm Bayan 1.0 right now. How can I upgrade to Bayan 2.0? Like, what do I need to do to like level up so that like the people that know me are gonna, like, I have to reintroduce my new self to them, and they may or may not stick around after that. What do I need to do? And that's when I started. I started back again, like back to like every morning waking up and like skating again. So like that was the first thing that I went back to with my music. And then this time around I had a dog. So it made it a little bit more like
Snow?
different. Yeah. I had a dog, Snow. I just got to see him last Monday, so it was really nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
But once I started working on myself, and I was very public about my journey, I started attracting people that were on their journey that looked at something I was doing and it inspired them to like make a move in their life. And the more that started happening, the more I started sharing. That's why I'm very open about sharing my story, because the more we can share our individual stories, the more we realize that we gravitate people who might have that one similar thing. Like you have that, like you might have that one artist that you listen to, you love their music, but you love their story because you relate to something in their story. People love my skating, but they relate to something. Like the other day, I was talking to some of my skater friends who are also influencers, and I was like, I ask my audience whether they put their toilet paper with the toilet paper on top or at the bottom. Like I want to know, like I want to know what you're up to. Like where are we relating? Like what
Those human
makes
connections, yeah.
yeah, like what makes you hang around for this long, and what makes you share my page? Like what did I do to like to light you up for a second there? And so once I started realizing that social media is the form of market research for whatever I want to choose to like direct it to, I just started like sharing everything. I will wake up and share like me in bed. I will I will share whatever. And actually I just recently opened an OnlyFans account where now I'm getting intimate with a group of my like audience. I'm getting super intimate. Like I'll tell them things that I would tell a boyfriend, and I'll share pictures with them that I would share with a boyfriend. And I'm getting their responses as a mass audience. There's 30 of them now. 31 of them now. So these 31 guys are telling me things, and I'm just kind of like doing market research. What do you like? What don't you like? There's about 15, 20 dudes who've asked to buy my dirty socks. So I've attracted a foot fetish group. Like, I mean, it happens, right? You attract these people.
It does
No, it
happen.
makes sense. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's brave as fuck. Like you're like doing
It
like
is.
creating an OnlyFans like just for market research, and hey, I
I
applaud
just
you.
want
That's
to know. Like, I'm curious, you
Oh.
know? And I'm playing like a game. Like, so like in my bio, I put like, here's the name of the game. You're my long distance boyfriend. I'm teasing the hell out of you. You're going to tell me what you like, and I may or may not give it to you. I'm a Scorpio. I do whatever I want. I make the rules around here. And they're like, okay, cool.
we actually. Oh my.
Oh,
Interesting.
God.
Very interesting.
There's a
Yeah.
market
And
for
I was just
everything.
like,
Do they
what?
do they pay you for this? Is this
Yeah, they pay me per post.
wow?
Yeah. I've had it for about 8 days, maybe 9 days. I made about $500.
$500?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I haven't,
That is-
and like I haven't done any nudes, which is driving them insane, which is interesting because I realize the more you drive men insane, the more they come after you. They will not leave you. Like girls think like if I give him what he wants, he's gonna stick around. But actually, if you don't give him what he wants, he'll stick around because he'll want to know why you're not giving him what he wants. And
I
how
don't know
can
if
he
I
possibly
agree with
get
that, but
Well,
it? That's what I'm
every
learning
guy,
right now.
every guy is different, but it does equate to that on some level. Everyone, I mean, there is a pushing point, but yes, it's that whole thing on the simple principle: absence makes the heart grow fonder. If you put the object of your affection further away, or the object of desire or lust in this case,
Yeah.
people will work that much harder to chase it until a certain point.
Until a
Everybody
certain
has their
point.
point
Yes.
for it.
Yes. Yes.
Then you got a little dangle the little carrot and let them have a bite, but that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's been such a
OnlyFans
fun.
is lucrative.
It's very lucrative. I've realized. Yeah. I'm
And you said
definitely like. What?
Oh. No, you said you sold some dude some like dirty ass socks. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I did. I did. I sent a pair to the Netherlands. That was the furthest I've sold one.
The Netherlands?
Yeah.
Wow.
Can I ask
I
you
mean,
how much they sold for?
the ones for the Netherlands 150,
Wow.
but I've sold them all the way up to like 500 a pair.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hey,
What a
that's
market.
entrepreneurship.
I didn't even know that
That's
market
entrepreneurship.
existed.
Wow.
I did like the thought had never come to my like attention until I posted a picture. It was the beginning of Persian Skater. It was literally like probably like my fourth post. And I'm sitting on this like baseball. It's like a large baseball. I'm sitting on it and I'm just like sitting with my skates like hanging. And it emphasizes my socks, maybe? I don't know. It's my first time wearing the
Yeah.
socks too.
To those people, like your socks was an NFT. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they see it like, yo, those are the dirty socks that Persian Skater wore. I'll pay you
Yeah.
Dude, that just shows that like people will pay like stupid amounts of money for anything.
People will pay for anything. Like there's somebody selling pet rocks. You just have to know who you want to sell it to and speak their language. And
There's a
then
market for everything. There's a
there
market for
is.
everything.
There's a
And you
market
just
for
gotta be
everything.
savvy enough to take advantage of it. As far as what she's telling you right now, it's not a shocker to me. I live in the section of LA called the San Fernando Valley. I'm letting them know because they're from the East Coast. You already know. But that used to be the porn capital of the United States. All the stuff she's telling you right now is no shock to me. I used to be a Lyft driver and I used to drive literally porn actresses around with me at certain levels, and they would literally tell me all the time. I had one time I was on a ride, no joke, and these two girl actresses were debating, and they asked for my opinion of what they should sell their dirty panties for. No joke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like people want these things. This happens. This is real. And it's like at first I used to be embarrassed. I denied a bunch of people and I was like, no, that's weird. Like, why would I sell you my dirty socks? And I was like, why not? Like, what am I going to do with them? I'm going to throw them away. Like, after I'm done with them, I'm going to throw them away after a while. Like, why wouldn't
Might
I
as well
sell
like
it?
bring income in.
Yeah, like,
No.
why am I not doing this? Like, where's my insecurity about this? And then I was like, I'm just going to sell it. And I just started selling it.
All right, so this all ties into your business savvy mind. So you know, so you go into like skating to like, and we're gonna talk about your food truck in a minute, but you go from that to
Yeah.
selling, you know, your food truck. You're charging people to learn business from you, which is awesome, and then you're learning like how to sell dirty socks to people in the Netherlands. So this is like, no, I mean, like I admire this because it tells me that your brain is very like, you're always thinking about like how this shit works, like what kind of markets are out there, and like you like entrepreneurship and business is clearly something you're passionate about, and you can just like
Yeah.
see through the markets and stuff. So let's talk about now yeah, so your Instagram, like you identify with skating. I mean, I never see a picture of you without the skates on. And then like this somehow ties into your overall brand as a human being. And then you do this thing called Tadig, which for the people listening, like Tadig is like it's a Persian food where it's just basically like I don't know how to describe Tadig. It's basically like burnt rice that's like
crispy
sticks
rice.
together, right?
It's
It's crispy.
not
It's amazing.
burnt. It's
For anyone who
scorched.
doesn't know what it
Scorched
is, it's amazing.
It's scorched rice. It could also be bread. Any type of flat bread. It could be
Wait,
potato.
bread?
Yeah.
Yeah, bread. Yeah, bread.
I know.
Lavash.
I didn't know it applies to bread. Okay.
Yeah, you could put lavash. So So the way Tadig works is when you make rice, the normal way that a lot of people make rice is they put the water in, they put the rice in, they let it steam until the water's gone and the rice is cooked. The way Persians do it is they don't want the rice to stick to each other. So like if it takes 45 minutes for rice to cook, 20 minutes, 25 minutes into it like cooking, they strain it out and they pour cold water over it and they stop it from its cooking process. And then they put oil at the bottom of the pan, and you can either pour the rice back in and the rice kind of fries with the steamed consistency like stuck to it, or you could put anything you want, literally anything you want. You could put like vegetables at the bottom and it will like burn like kind of at the bottom. It'll get crispy with steamed rice stuck to it. You could put bread, you could put anything you want, but Persians usually use lavash, like, which is flatbread. And then they also use potatoes. So like if we make like pasta, you can put pasta at the bottom,
Yeah,
or
that
you can
stuff
put
is real good.
potatoes and put pasta over it instead of
Pasta
rice.
Tadig is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Tadig is.
Yeah, I love it. So you had this, I don't know, like, was this your idea? Like, yo, what if we just took this Teddy concept and like make it into like a sandwich and then like, like, or like tacos and you put like, was that your idea or?
It was inspired by one of my really close friends, but developed into being my project. Let's start big and then go small. So big is my business coaching. So when it comes to business, I believe in like education plus experience. So that's why I dabble into a lot of things. So before Tadig, I had an insurance agency.
Mm.
And so having an insurance agency, you're selling a non-tangible product. I didn't have experience selling a tangible product, let alone perishable goods. So that's why I wanted to go into like the food industry. At the same time,
When you say non-tangible product, like to our people who are not business savvy, like what does that mean? Like something that's
it
not
means you
physical?
can't hold it. It's not
Okay.
physical. You can't hold it. So your music is a non.
It's the opposite of the socks.
So insurance, tax services, anything services is non-tangible.
Mm.
So for me, I wanted to practice that. So I had put together a whole idea where I was going to sell falude. For those of you who don't know what falude is, like, what is it? It's like
Like
icy,
ice cream?
like an
Yeah,
icy,
yeah.
yeah. So I wanted to sell things like that. I wanted to sell like I was raised in Southern California, so like a lot of Spanish influence in my life. I wanted to sell like chopped fruit with tahini on it. And I was telling my friend about this and how I researched that while selling life insurance, I was telling people that we're at an all times high, which means we're going to hit an all times low as far as like the stock market and like the market in general goes. And so when I was transitioning out of insurance into like my next business idea, I wanted to make sure that if we did crash, it would still succeed. And food trucks were actually built in the 1920. It was the Great Depression. They were built in the Great Depression.
30s. Yep.
1930s. And so they thrive in depression. So, and they also thrive in non-depression because there's events and you can take your food truck there. So I was like, that's the business I'm going to get into. I went around, I told everybody, I want to open a food truck. And everyone laughed at me. And one of my friends was like, if you're going to build a food truck, why don't you just sell like Tadig tacos? I'm like, what's a Tadig taco? And he's like, like a taco, but the shell is Tadig. And I'm like, that's a genius idea. Like, why have you not done this?
Did he mean that like as a joke or?
No, he meant it. He was just like, this is a really good idea. He has a lot of good ideas. He's from Chicago. He's half he's full Persian, doesn't speak any Farsi. He's from Chicago, has like a very different mindset on life. Listens to a lot of underground music. Loves your music, Shaheen. I was like, send him all your stuff.
Awesome.
He's not on social media.
Wait, what's his name? Maybe he like reached out to me.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't reached
Oh,
out to me.
okay.
His name is Naveed. But anyway, so he says this, and I'm like, Naveed, like, dude, let's make this. Like, let's. You want to be my business partner? And he's like, no, you take it. It's yours. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. It took me about 6 months to figure out how to mass produce Teddy, by the way,
Yeah, it's not
without
easy to
like,
do.
yeah. So it was inspired by him for sure. But when I took it home and like tried to figure out how to do it, like that was definitely all me because like he lives in Nevada and had no idea. And then when I put up my first food tent, I sent him a picture and he was like in shock that I actually took the idea and 8 months later it like had come to fruition somehow.
So, like, how long does that take, like, to prepare for, like, okay, like, what time does your food truck like open up, and like, how long does it take prior to the opening to like prepare the Tadig and everything?
So it depends on how many I'm selling. So I sell about 120 plates a day.
Not bad.
Um,
Very good.
Wow.
and I was doing it at breweries. So what really helped out was that the pandemic made the breweries force the breweries to sell food with their alcohol. And the breweries that were not serving food needed food trucks. And so I made deals with different breweries in San Diego, and I would go sell there. I was there at the same brewery for the first couple months before I added more in. So when I first started, I was selling Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I shopped on Tuesday, I prepped on Wednesday, I cooked on Thursday, and then I cooked for like the whole weekend. And then
Yeah.
I just had everything kind of like prepared and ready to go.
Real
So
cool.
I
Real
had
cool.
Mondays off.
Yeah. And do you find that fulfilling? Like, you seem like you enjoy it, like just like the whole Tadig thing.
Yeah, I invented a product. I thought that was cool.
No, you did. Like, I showed it to some people and they were in shock. They're like, yo, this exists. And actually
Yeah.
the other day, it was actually when my parents were watching your performance on the Noru special. And I'm like, oh, I know that girl. Like, we're tight. And she has like a teddy truck where she like mixes it with tacos. And my parents were like, what? And I'm like, yo, here, like, look at the photos. And like they're they're like, wow, she is genius. Like, so like I think like the concept of it. And I had like this one friend in California who like lives like on the opposite side of California, and he claims to be rich, and he was like, bro, I will literally like fly my jet over there just to like get one of those. Like, so
Yeah.
yeah, you're starting a movement for sure.
It's cool. People have come from Texas, from New York. I've had guests from San Francisco. I have people messaging me like every day, like, "Hey, we can't wait till you open. We're gonna travel to come try your food." And I'm like, "What? Like, that's amazing."
That is wild.
Yeah,
Dude, that is
it does
wild.
put a lot of pressure on me though. Like, so I'm just
I know,
like,
I
what
know,
if
I
they
get,
come
yeah.
and they don't like it?
I mean, if you're selling over 100 a day and everyone's like, "Oh my God, I want to try this out," like they're probably gonna like it, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's so.
definitely.
Yeah.
It definitely means that you've tapped into another market there. And personally, for me, if anybody actually like looks at my page, I know Shane and Keith do on occasion. Aside from my music, if anyone notices anything, I do eat at a lot of places. I do a lot of food truck visiting, some dining.
Yeah.
So I am definitely willing to drive down to San Diego, which I did frequent up until the
Orange County,
pandemic.
Orange County. I brought
Oh,
it. I'm now
you
in the
bought it?
middle of San Diego and LA.
So now you're in Orange County.
Yeah,
What specifically where in Orange County are you
Irvine,
living right now?
Spectrum.
Irvine. Oh, I have
Yeah,
family in Irvine, so I would. That's even less of a journey for me. So I will
yeah.
have to go up there and taste it. But I have one question for you since you were working at breweries. How do you take with beer?
Um, they like okay. So I only had two flavors. I call them flavors. Two quarters.
Mm.
One was Gorma Sabzi, which had the beef in it, and then one was Badam June, like eggplants but it was vegetarian style.
Okay, I'm going with the warmest Sevzi.
A lot of people say that, and then I'd had people come up and they're like, "Don't tell anybody this, but I like the vegetarian one a lot better." And I was just like, "Really? Okay, that's cool."
I don't like eggplants, so that's why. But
It's different.
Likewise.
Mine is made very different. It's not like the typical, like, you know how they say like don't mash the badam june. I like mash the whole thing in. I actually chop them up into
You really just
pieces.
like do what you're not supposed to do. You're like, fuck it, I do what I want, and then you make
Yeah,
a banking
but
taco.
it
Yeah,
tastes so bomb.
yeah,
Because I don't want you don't want to bite into an eggplant. Like that's disgusting. You want to bite into like
yeah.
a flavorful like every bite needs to be flavorful.
I
I'm
want to
very
be
like
daring. I want some of that chipotle sauce or whatever it is that you're putting on.
yeah. I started putting what is it siracha mayo
Sriracha
on
mayo. That's what
bottom
it is.
June.
That's what it is. Sriracha
That's-
mayo.
People are
Okay.
eating it up.
I'm
But
daring
yeah,
enough to
but
do it.
it does go well with beer. To go back to your question before we forget to answer it, it goes really well with beer, especially the Badam June. Also, because of the breweries that I worked with, their beer was special, like super, super special. So we picked out which flavors match really well with it.
Craft beer, basically.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, I want to travel to California late April, early May, and around the LA area. So now I'm like super eager to come down and like visit you and like have that these
I'll
Tadig
make you
tacos.
Tadig
Like,
at home. I won't be open, but I'll make you Tadig at home.
wait, you're
Come
not gonna
through.
be open?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so some complications happened, but I'm gonna be open on June 1st.
June 1st. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So to
You'll get
anyone
to
listening,
test it out. You'll get to test
What?
it out. The bait. You'll get to test it out before it hits the market.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to try. If I make you Tadig, here's the deal. I'll make you any of the things I have on my menu, but you have to try the Nutella Tadig.
I'll do it.
It's
I'll do
so
it.
I
good.
already like Nutella, so that's not a problem.
Nutella's not my
100%.
thing, but like I just want to try it with Teddy. You know, like I'll do anything
love
with
So
it.
Teddy.
bomb. Yeah, it's so bomb.
You know, I was having this discussion with my cousin today actually, 'cause, like while we were eating Teddy from Fist in June, and it was like I was like trying to discuss like, yo, why do we like this so much? Like, you know, like this doesn't really taste like it doesn't really have a flavor. It doesn't have a taste, but we still love it so much. Is it like a texture? You know, the crunchiness,
Yeah.
but we love it.
But then if you look into it a little bit more, some people like would ask me, they're like, don't make it too crunchy. Like I want it to be like soft. Some people are like, I want it well done. Well done, please.
I like
was
it
like,
well
okay,
done as
yeah.
well. Like yeah,
Well done, please.
yeah. It's
And can you put the sauce that you put? Can you put that
Okay.
too?
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you have like a loyal customer base.
I do. And my favorite thing to hear now I'm a chef. As a chef is I was craving your food, so I made plans to come back. That was where I was like, okay, like I wanted to hit that. Like I wanted people to crave it and then come back. Like I don't know if you've ever had In-N-Out. I don't know what's comparable in the East Coast, but like
In-N-Out.
when you have that, like you have Chipotle. You have Chipotle there, right?
Yeah.
When you have Chipotle one time, like when you crave Chipotle, you go back to Chipotle. It tastes exactly the same. Like there's like it's like this flavor that you were craving to like get. It's beyond just the burrito, and I wanted to create that in my food, which I did, which was
Yo,
really
you gotta
cool.
create a patent for this before like other Iranian restaurants start copying your idea. If you could.
Oh no, I want. Okay, here's my dream. My dream is for Tadig to be like hamburgers, tacos, pizza. Like I want everybody to be inspired to open a Tadig shop, their own version, like however they want, like put their own khoresht on it. But I want to be able to like travel to like Toronto and be able to get Tadig if I want to, because everybody knows about it. It's like hamburger, it's like pizza. Like you could have a million pizza places, but it doesn't mean like one pizza place is going to do better than the other. It just means that like we all can eat pizza anywhere we
So
go.
there's a huge like Teddy community out there, and you want to like basically mainstream and normalize the concept of Teddy, which I think is
Yes.
dope because
Yes.
everyone knows what burgers and hot dogs are, or like if you go to like Manhattan, which I know you did a few months ago, like you can get a falafel anywhere, like in any random street, there's a food truck. So if you can normalize Teddy, like you'll be a national icon in like Iran.
That's my dream.
So-
That's my dream. I want to normalize Teddy. That's where it all started.
So let me ask you, how old were you when you started the Tadig truck?
I started Tadig, well, last year I started selling it in the pandemic. I started in March, and then October before that is when I started this whole like, so 2019, end of
2019.
2019.
So I think you were like what, 28, 29-ish?
28, yeah. I'm 30 now, so I was 28.
30 now? Okay,
Yeah.
so like I think that's incredible because and it just shows like because when we talk about the hero's journey, like I feel like a lot of people have this idea that it's like one specific path and like that it's like rigid, but it's like you started out like you know the traditional path wasn't for you going to college. Like, I don't know if you went to college. I think you did, but getting the degree and then getting like a normal 9 to 5 job and doing that until you're 65 and yada yada yada. It's like, but you started out with like an insurance thing, and then over time you transitioned into like basically like what you're doing now essentially, and you're constantly evolving, constantly learning as you continue on walking your own path. And then you picked up skating, and now like you're inspiring tens of thousands of people on Instagram through your skating journey, which very also like intertwines with your business and everything you do. And like I think like that must contribute. Like, do you think you'd be the human being that you are today if you decided to like listen to what your parents with very good intentions were like, you stuck with your 9 to 5 job, and you're still working that job, and you're gonna work that job and marry a mediocre dude and like have mediocre kids, and then so on and so forth, and like, but like, would you be the same Bayon today,
No, I wouldn't be the same Bayan today if I
Yeah.
went that route, simply put. But um, I think I think one of the things that we need we as a human race to understand is our parents. Okay, so we all humans have values, and our values determine our behaviors. So depending on what my values are today, I'm going to act a certain way, and if my value changes tomorrow, I'm going to act another way, right? So up until 20 years old, where I wasn't even allowed to save guys numbers as their names on my phone, there's no way I would make an OnlyFans account. It's because I've shifted my mentality to like what I think now, what I value now. Like what I value now is transparency, is being open, whereas before what I valued was making sure I fulfill my parents' dream and
Yeah.
like don't
Right.
don't embarrass the family. God forbid your uncle from Iran hears something from a
Oof.
neighbor down the street, like things like that. So one of the things that we need to understand is our parents' values is our safety. And so they want to make sure that that we're safe first. So education, or like the normal route of a 9 to 5, also creates like a safety. It's everyone's safety net, whether it's their plan A or plan B. It's always because let me fall back into it. Let me just have it just in case. Like even some parents would say like just get the degree and then do what
Then
you
do
want,
what you. Yep.
because their mentality, their value is safety.
Right.
For you to fulfill your life's purpose, like every single successful person has written about, is you got to get out of your comfort zone. If you get out of your comfort zone, you're out of safety. So it's like a yin and yang kind of thing. And it's like, do you want to fulfill your life's purpose, or do you want to play it safe? And it's, you can't have both. So I think we want to like fulfill our parents' values of safety, but at the same time we have this fire that's like, don't do the safe thing, like go your way. And it's like
Yeah.
you have to make 100% decision. There's no 92%, there's no 97%, there's no I'm mostly gonna do this. But the word but cancels everything you said before that. So if you're going to fulfill your life's purpose, you're going to have to detach yourself from your entire community and just be solo by yourself. Like, nobody's opinions can matter even a second. Like, if my dad calls me tomorrow and says so and so just saw your like half naked pictures on OnlyFans, I have to be able to be okay with that when I
Take that
make
act, yeah.
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 Like, and so it's like a big shift of like you literally can't hear or see or care about
That's the
opinion.
hardest part, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Like, especially, I mean, we 3 out of the 4 people here are Iranian, so it's sort of like not only, you know what I mean. Like, there we come from like a culturally conservative place, so it's sort of like whatever like Americans go through, like times 10. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, but think about this. Think about this. If you look at it from like a different dimension, okay? Imagine you're on an airplane looking down. Can you count how many people are on this planet? Can you tell me how many years you're going to actually live? Can you tell me um can you tell me what somebody's daughter did 200 years ago? Like, her version of like being a prostitute or a slut or whatever. Like, did it matter? How much did it matter to today? Like, did it matter if so and so became a singer or if they became a doctor? Like, did it really matter? Like, and it's like it's when you start looking at it from that perspective, it doesn't matter which culture we come from. It doesn't matter where you identify. And that's one of the things that I it really enjoyed playing in life, is having multiple identities, because I was an insurance agent. Now I'm a chef, but I'm also a life coach, but I'm also a roller skater, but I'm also Persian, but I also have curly hair. So there's so many different communities of people that I can interact with. Why am I like so scared of this one community like not accepting what I do? And is it everybody in the community that doesn't accept what I do, or the people that I'm focusing on? Because when you start doing what you want to do, you start attracting the people that are enjoying it, and you will get some hate comments of the people
yeah,
that didn't see that identity that you've just created, and it's unfamiliar for them and it's out of their comfort zone, so they're going to comment on it. And it's not personal to you, it's actually personal to them. It's because of
right.
their insecurities. And so the sooner somebody, even a Persian, can realize that it doesn't matter what people are saying or thinking, um, because we have so many thoughts. And it's funny because how many times have you thought that something was really bad, and then 2 years later you thought it was something really good? And so just because I'm doing something right now and somebody's going through whatever they're going through to think it's bad doesn't mean what I'm doing is bad. It just means that at this time this person thinks it's bad. Tomorrow she might think it's a great idea. And if I stop doing what I'm doing, I've now reshifted what I'm doing because of somebody's thought that changed tomorrow, and I just ruined everything I built.
That was very well said.
I
That was very well
had this
said.
conversation 3 times today.
Yeah. No, you came prepared. You definitely came prepared. You know, there was a scene in the, I don't know if you've seen The Dark Knight Rises. Um, no.
Is
Well,
that
basically,
Batman?
it's the third Batman movie with the,
Okay.
yeah, and there was like this scene where he's like in some like pit, and like he has to climb out of it, and like he reaches like a certain point, but he has like this rope tied around him to like, so if he falls, like the rope will save him. So he keeps jumping and he keeps failing. He can't like get to the next part. And then like a few months later, he's like training his body. He's still in the pit for like months and months, and like he's like training his body, doing push-ups, all sorts of stuff. And then he's like, I don't understand. Like, how did a little kid do it? He's like, well, the little kid had everything to lose.
Did it
Um,
without the rope.
so he did it. So when Bruce decided to jump without the rope, he made it. And that and like, so to me, like when I saw that, it changed my life, because it was like, well, like, because it's like the const I want to give you like the two sides, because it's like this idea of like the backup plan, right? And like oftentimes when you spend so much time building a backup plan, the backup plan becomes your plan, because all the resources you put into your backup plan could have just gone into whatever your plan A was. And by the time you created that safety net, you don't really have much time anymore to create whatever you wanted to do in the first place. On the other side, to play devil's advocate, because I've experienced both sides, it's like sometimes when you and this has been like my thing, so everyone's different, but I've also experienced the fact that when you don't have that backup plan, like sometimes it creates like a certain state of anxiety that could be borderline. But this is just my experience, by the way, so it might not be yours or anyone else's, but sometimes it could create like a crippling anxiety almost. So let's say if I'm writing a song, it's like I have to make sure the song blows up, right? Or it's like if I'm doing whatever I'm doing, like every second matters. And sometimes like that's kind of hard too,
Yes. Hold on, let me digest the information real quick. So you're
Yeah.
saying that even though a backup plan can paralyze you in a way, it can also be good for you because of the times where you're anxious that your actual plan is not working.
I
Like
think
it,
it just depends on the person. Because like sometimes like because like as you're like let's say you're building like a social media following, no matter like what kind of stuff you do, whether it's like music or like you're building a personal brand, it's like instead of like focusing on like the actual content, sometimes you're just focused on numbers, because now like you don't have like until you blow up in whatever field you're in, you don't have income, and income is what feeds you. It's what puts food in your mouth. It puts like a roof over your head. So because like and ultimately like we as content creators, we tend to think and feel that it's the numbers, the likes, comments, shares, people
it's not.
streaming your yeah, like people streaming your music or whatever it is, like this is what meant, like this is what's gonna put like food on your table, right? So and I think like that's why like like people get anxiety, and I think like that's just to play devil's advocate. But that being said, I'm much more of an believer of like the first thing I said, which was if you focus too much on that backup plan, that safety net, uh 99% chance you can like kiss your dream goodbye.
I think if you have a backup plan, it's because you don't 100% know that your plan is going to make it. And instead of spending time creating a backup plan in case your plan doesn't make it, figure out a way to make your plan make it. So I'll give you an example. When I first started this Tadig project in 2019, I envisioned a food truck. I still don't have a food truck today. I've sold product. Um, I've done I've done market research. I've done all the areas of my business. I've paid taxes on my LLC. I've done everything, but I still don't have my food truck. And I'm not anxious that I don't have my food truck because the way I've planned things out, even though it's falling out of plan, like for example, the reason why I don't have my food truck is because I bought a food truck. We spent 3 months and thousands of dollars building it. And then California said that because it's diesel, they won't register it. So now we have to take everything that we built in the food truck and take it and put it into a trailer. And then I have to sell the food truck. So it just made my opening day, instead of like April 1st, it's going to be like June 1st now. So if I didn't know that Tadig was going to make it, I'd be freaking out right now over these 3 months or 4 months where I have to come out of pocket even longer than I already have. Um, and to be honest, like I have to like utilize credit cards and things like that to make my dream happen. And this kind of falls back on the idea of also like resource, like money is a resource, not a result. And the more we understand that money is a resource and a tool and it's not the result of something, the more we don't freak out over not having it. And we can move past our plan. If we don't have the money at the time, we can still make what we envision happen with or without the money, which is a whole different can of worms. But if you have a plan B, it's because you're fearful that your plan A is not going to work. And if you're fearful that your plan A is not going to work, it's because it doesn't have the foundation, the anatomy that it needs as a business to move forward. And instead of spending time over there, I would highly suggest spending time and energy building the foundation of the business. And if the business is waiting to blow up to make money, the business is not set up properly, because a business has revenue and it should start making money from month one, and it should grow from there according to a plan, and it should get to enough revenue to function it on its own and pay out the employees working for it within a year, if it's put together, if it's put together properly. So it doesn't matter what the product or service is. Now we're just talking about business in general. And so if the business is not put together properly, and this happens a lot in today's day and age, and it happens with influencers a lot, and it happens with musicians a lot, and it happens with photographers a lot, it happens with art a lot. And it's when somebody is trying to create a business around their art, and they know their art very well, but they don't know business very well. And when you don't know business very well, you start focusing on the fun part of your business first, which is the art part, which is the social media and the creating of that one song and this and that. And you're not spending time on the sales part, which is actually where you should start any business whatsoever, is sales. And putting together your whole sales process and the product, and then you're selling it. So that's a whole different concept. But I don't agree with the fact that anybody should have a plan B. I think they should just work on their plan A and head on.
No, for sure. That was just to kind of just challenge you
Start
a little
my
bit.
tangent.
Yeah. No, it's because I've people have asked me that before, as someone who has I'm doing this music stuff, and it's a struggle at times. That's kindly put it, and founders can attest to that. But um yeah, so what would you like to tell people, because again, I feel like the vibe that I get from you has always been, just do what you really like. If just do something that fulfills you, right?
Yeah.
And it's just listening to you from the moment you came on, and you're like, I started skating because of this issue I had, and then just seeing you that involve, that's very inspiring, and it motivated me for sure. Yeah. So is there anything you want to tell the audience that you think could inspire them? I mean, I'm sure you already did, but
I think the best thing I can say is that make a plan. Okay, I actually have said this a few times today too. If you decide to go to college, what you would do is you go to a counselor and you let them know what your major is going to be. And the counselor is going to tell you what classes you need to take, how many units you need to pass, and what your roadmap is to get there. If you fall off of that roadmap, meaning if you decide to be a psychologist and then you decide that now you want to be a nurse, the classes that you took for psychology, some of them will transfer over, but you're probably going to have to take an extra 30, 40 units on top of what you did, which means you're going to be in school a lot longer. If you haven't decided what you want to be and you go to college, you're going to waste some time doing that if you change routes like that. It's the same thing with life. If you start going through life without planning where your destination's going to be, You don't know where the road is going to take you. The universe is going to choose which way to go, and it could gravitate any which way, and it'll feel like you're just going in a circle. But if you sit down and give yourself that time and space to 100% decide what you want to do and put your full focus into it and put all of your investment into it, money, time, energy, resources, everything into just that, you're going to create something really amazing, and it's going to inspire more people to do that. And the more people do that, the more we can reshift this whole mindset behind go to school, be successful. I'm not saying school is bad. I'm saying school is also just like money, it's a resource, it's not the solution.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say.
Okay, dope, very dope. I feel
Okay.
like, yeah, I feel like, you know, I was driving my car around my neighborhood, and I saw, for some reason, you know, I saw this old dude riding a bike, and he just had like a very like sad look on his face, and it made me wonder, like, yo, like, why are people so miserable? You know, like people, and because it's not just him. Like, I'll be anywhere, and like people either look numb, or like there's sad, or like there's, and like you,
Or
and it's,
lost.
and if it was just like one person every now and then, like you see it, it's like okay. But it's like, if it's like a common thing, it's like I go to New York City and people are walking around. Even though, don't get me wrong, I love New York, I love the energy I get from it, and I love being surrounded by people. But at the same time, I can see like the amount of pain they're carrying. Like, and sometimes I wonder, like, why is that? And I believe it's because it all has to do with like the decisions they didn't make when they were young, and they could have gone on their own path, and you know, like they decided to work on plan B instead, and now there's when you reach a certain age, you're stuck with it,
They lived
right?
a life of what
I don't
ifs and
believe that.
regrets.
Wait, what?
They lived a life of what ifs and regrets because they didn't actually get up and do what it is that they really wanted to do for one reason or another. And now they've kind of just resigned themselves to this is the way it is. But really, it shouldn't be because I've seen people at the age of like 80 literally turn their lives around and find something that they really wanted to do and find meaning to their life. So it just really doesn't matter how old you get. Even if you feel like you've passed up an opportunity in the past, you should still sit down and reevaluate what is it that you really want to do, and just say the hell with it and go and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of those people, like you said, it's kind of like the universe just took them because they didn't have a plan A and just brought them wherever it wanted them to go, and now they're not stuck because they could get out of it,
Yeah, they
but they might
can.
feel like they are. And
Yeah.
I've just been listening for a while because I wanted to see what Shaheen would ask, so I would know what I could ask.
Yeah.
So one thing, because I know you do mentorship and coaching and things like that, in addition to entrepreneurship and your business. Um, so like when we were talking about mental health, right? A lot of things, not that I'm an expert, but you end up treating a symptom instead of a cause. And that's true in medicine. That can be true in for things that are going on in your life. We've talked about this a little bit on the podcast with like self-development and self-help, and how like sometimes, yes, those things help people, but sometimes it makes them even worse. It creates a situation where they think, I constantly need this product or this person's coaching or something like that, where they can't function without it. And then like when it's gone, they almost feel like they're lost again. Um, and so my question really is like, have you had any experiences where that with like your own mentors, like any mentors you follow, or how did you get out of it if you did? Was
For me,
there ever a
getting
point
stuck
where
with a mentor, like thinking that without them I wouldn't survive.
no, like did you ever get stuck in terms of like a set of ideas that you were following that turned out to not be right, or um, have issues like finding mentorship that was actually useful for you?
Okay, so My mentor, my first mentor that even started me on like the mentorship path was my speech 103 teacher, and he's still my life coach today. And I don't feel stuck to him. Like I don't feel like if he wasn't around, I wouldn't be able to go through life. So I'm gonna compare this to skating. I also coach skating if somebody asks me and I have the time for it. So I've coached like maybe a few girls, but also I personally I believe that we humans always need coaches. So I have my own mentor. My mentor has a mentor. Like with skating too. Like I get lessons from somebody, and then somebody else can get like learn one, teach one, right? So one of the things that I've noticed is that every time if I go and get information from a different mentor, I get to hear their perspective, which um, which is the whys behind why they do the things that they do, and it can give me a better, like a bigger dimension on that one topic. And I've actually been using this in my platform too. Like instead of, let's say I want to make business cards. Instead of asking the people that I can think of that would know about business cards, I will post it on my social media and let 16,000 people answer it, because I am going to get a bigger, point of view from different perspectives on one topic. So I'm not limited to whatever that one person does. So when it comes to mentorship, one of the things that I believe in is get a coach instead of a psychologist, because a psychologist's mindset is, or what they've been trained to do is look for an illness, a disease, a problem, and their solution is therapy, yes, but you're dependent on them for therapy, and also medication. If you have a therapist, like don't like again like don't take this information like that. I'm just saying, like, this is my point of view on this. A coach is going to look for patterns, and they're going to reveal these patterns to you, and they're going to reveal what they see in your behavior, and they're going to tell you that this behavior is usually the symptom of a value which is engraved in your brain. So if your value is that everyone needs to listen to authority, then you're going to make all of your decisions based off of that value. And if it goes against what you're trying to do, you're going to get a repeat pattern of failures. And in order to get out of that pattern of failures, you have to reshift your value and really understand why you're doing the thing that you're doing. So a coach is going to put you through a process of a lot of questions. I know you experienced one or two with me, Shaheen, like two of the coachings. I asked a lot of questions, and one of the things he said is like, wow, you're really diving deep, which we actually didn't. That was like the least deep one I've ever done. But one of the things that we do as coaches is we ask you a lot of questions to make you figure out what's best for you. We don't tell you what's best for you. We don't direct you to a solution. You direct yourself to a solution. We just ask you the right questions to get your brain to really think on its own. So the next time you just think like that. You don't need somebody to tell you that. And you can, and once you have one coach that's successful for you, you can always add new coaches. I have multiple coaches. I have an intuition coach, I have a business coach, I have a skate coach. You know what I mean? You don't have to limit yourself to one ever.
I got you. Yeah.
I mean, there are people out there who will pay like tens of thousands of dollars for coaches.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Like because I've been big. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the business world's a little different than the self-help one too in that regard. Cause like with self-help, it's a lot more, I don't want to say charlatans, because I know there are good people who actually help people doing it, but people get caught up in it a little more because it's more of an emotional thing. It's not like they have a goal where it's like a concrete thing. They want to set up a business or create a page, become an influencer, something like that. It's like, I want to feel good about myself. And that's kind of hard to like,
because with
harder to make.
business you can measure your results with how much income you're bringing in, or like
Right,
let's say
yeah.
let's say you have a dating coach, right? Then like the idea is like, well, how many numbers did you get, right? Like, so like there's something you can like measure your results in. But I think if it's like, if you're trying to feel good about yourself, that's a very vague concept, because you can have a few beers and you'll feel good, but that's not gonna like solve the
Right.
problem, right? So
Yeah, I can take 5 grams of mushrooms in the woods and be fantastic. but,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
well,
right.
lately a lot of people have been recommending the Shaheen take some mushrooms.
Yeah.
I think you'd enjoy them. I honestly do.
I took mushrooms for the first time 2 weeks ago.
Everyone's trying shrooms lately.
Microdose. Microdose.
No, I
Yeah,
don't
my
need
God.
shrooms. I need.
Yeah, you should start out with a low amount. I'm not gonna. Don't do 5 grams. Do not do that.
Two. Yeah.
Two.
I'm skipping all that. DMT is what I'm gonna do.
Oh, Jesus.
Now we're getting into a different subject, but shrooms
Oh
definitely.
God.
I need my
Yeah.
third eye opened.
Did you enjoy the experience though?
I did. I really enjoyed the experience. I was on a 2.5-hour drive, and we were driving to an abandoned water park, and I was watching the videos of the promotions of when the water park was actually like open and running. And it's between the drive from San Diego to Vegas. It's like a halfway point. And so like I've done this drive so many times. It was like Titanic, you're watching like what it used to be, and then you look and it's just like this like ruined place.
Yeah.
And like your brain is like, so like that's, they say like on mushrooms, like you like see sounds, you can like see music, like you can like it's instead of hearing it, you're seeing it, like you visualize a lot of things, or and so like I was just like visualizing the things that we were talking about. We went into the whole philosophical talk about life and like the meaning of life, and like how pathetic the human race is, and like
How pathetic? Yeah, I feel
think we are.
How many grams?
Amen.
And how long was the trip? How long was the trip, and how many grams did you take?
I think it was 2 or 0.2 or whatever that. It was a micro dose, is what
That's
it was.
0.2 then. 2 grams is that's a lot.
Okay, it was
Yeah.
0.2 then. And it was a micro dose, and then I didn't feel anything. Like I wasn't like, oh, I'm like shrooming. Like it was just when we were talking, I could visualize it. So like one of the things we were talking about was how like we were talking about like how the universe expands, and then like at some point it's going to expand to a point where like the earth can like freeze, or like we're talking about black holes, and like how we used to say like the solar system was just going around, but now it's actually going, it's like a tornado, like it's going into a black hole. So like at some point we're gonna go into a black hole. So I'm visualizing these like conversations, and I'm like, so we don't even matter. Like I can do whatever I want. It doesn't matter what my mom's sister thinks ever. Like I can do whatever I want. And so like I'm just like visualizing all this, and I'm just like and then like as we're talking, I'm envisioning, like I'm seeing us humans being like the cell of like a bigger being. Like imagine if the cells in our heart, while the heart is beating, are talking about the next heartbeat, because for them it's like 20 years from now, 30 years from now, but for us it's just every second. Like your heart's beating, like we're over here thinking about like the Big Bang Theory and this and that, whereas like for the universe, like it's like it's about to happen, and like we just don't know it. And so I was just like, why do we sit here and care about like the chatter and like what this says and what that says? Like I just want to like feel good and be happy and like just live. And so like I think that's what shrooms did for me. It was like a breakthrough.
That's a very interesting perspective. Wow.
Right?
Yeah, that's the best you can have on any kind of psychedelic. I mean, as long as you feel good.
Yeah, it was so good. And then seeing that abandoned place.
Isn't it also classified as a psychotropic drug as well?
What's the difference? I actually don't. I don't know.
You know what? Let's not go into that. It doesn't matter. Let's
But
just
do
take
you-
The definitions don't matter if we go into a black hole.
But I guess maybe we're going down like this rabbit hole of like philosophical stuff because if that and
Yeah, we are.
Let's talk about UFOs next.
Well, I was thinking like if nothing matters, that wouldn't that take away people's like ambition to like make their life matter, because it's like, well, if nothing matters and we're gonna be nothing but atoms in a millennia from now, or whenever that happens, whenever a black hole comes and sucks us all off, do you think
Yeah.
that could like destroy your like reason for living?
No. That just reminds you that like you just live your life to the fullest. Like don't worry about it. Like okay, so if you I went to the emergency a lot. Um so they kept giving me this like pamphlet, and finally after like the third time they gave it to me, I was like, "What is this?" And they're like, "Well, you get to plan ahead of time, like in case you become a vegetable, like you have it in a plan so nobody has to decide for you. You've already decided for yourself." Like that was like the gist of it. And so I was like, okay, like I definitely want to do this. Or you can like appoint who's going to make that decision for you, because like, do you really want like your mom or dad making that decision because they're thinking like, I want to keep my child, I don't want to kill my child? Or do you want your friend who like understands that like you're now suffering and you don't want to be a vegetable for the rest of your life, you'd rather just like let go, like they would make a better decision for you? Like, do you want somebody else to choose? Like you can make all these decisions. And so one of the things I asked the lady who was doing this counseling thing with me while we were like figuring out what I want, I was like, do you like doing this? Like, I was like talking, like, isn't it weird, like talking to people about the day they're going to die? Like, it's like a little like sad, right? And she was like, you think so, but when you go to talk to people about how short life is and how like there's so many different ways that they can like go, they start checking off things off of their bucket list more often, because they realize that all the other things that they think matters doesn't matter. What does matter is just living, like in the moment, do the things you want, like keep going, like be motivated. You don't like when you think like we don't matter, like it doesn't matter what somebody else thinks about me. It doesn't matter if they think that I'm a nice person. It doesn't matter if they think I'm a mean person. One person thinks I'm a nice person because of the interaction they had with me. Another person thinks I'm a mean person. I just am. Like I am a being who's sometimes nice and who's sometimes mean, and everyone's like that. So like the more you start thinking like that, the more you can start taking action on all the things you want to do, and you don't wait till you retire. You don't wait until like this happens or that happens. Also, on the other end of the spectrum, if you feel like you're too old and you've already missed out, you go, well, I'm 50, and let's say I live until I'm 30, like I still have 30 years to live. Like, do I want to keep doing this and then at 80 be like, oh shit, like I should have
Use the last 30
started
years.
like there was a comedian who talked about this. Like, he's like, I don't understand when people say it's too late to do something. Like, we're gonna live until we die. So like, why like when is it too late? Like we don't know when we're gonna die. So like when is it too late to really like start doing the things that you want to do? Is it too late if you do it one day before you die? Like at least you did it before you died, isn't it? Like, is it too late to do it a week before you died? Is it too late to do it a month before you died? Like what do you mean by it's too late? I think it's too late after you died. So let's just get up and do it.
And if nothing like has meaning, that just gives you the opportunity to make your own. You don't need like you don't need to follow some dogmatic thing or what your parents said or what society, culture, any of that stuff says. Like Shaheen knows this, and Farnoosh, like I follow like I grew up kind of Christian, but like I mostly follow like Norse and Celtic mythology, and like I can do that because I don't really care if God is real. Like I just I just kind of like, all right, these are the teachings that these people passed down about these beings. This is how they lived, and those are examples I can follow. So I'm going to do that. Like it's not, for me, it's not like some deep mystical, like religious thing. It's just kind of like, these are some ground rules for life that I personally agree with, and I'm going to follow them, because why the hell not? Like,
It doesn't matter if God is real.
exactly. And if he likes me, then I'll find out later. Like,
you know what? I gotta dial it back for a second because something really stood out to me in all this. So when you went to the emergency room all those times and they handed you a pamphlet, and this pamphlet is basically asking you around the time when you want to pass if you want to make a decision as to what to do with you when you're a vegetable.
If
and
you're in a critical position,
critical position, and you're only going there because you're trying to figure out what is causing anxiety attacks. I'd like to go on the record and say that is a fucked up hospital.
No, they do that. No. This hospital does it with every single patient, no matter what the reason is. Every time you go to the hospital, they give you this pamphlet to like let you do that.
Yeah, you stubbed your toe. Here's your vegetable plan. Like,
yeah. Still, I feel like that should just be.
Tells you that things can happen.
Right.
I feel like they should just be more mindful.
It doesn't matter if things can happen.
It's like, like this girl is here because she, she has anxiety. She fears for her life. By the way, like, yeah, you could turn into a vegetable tomorrow. So here's this piece of paper. Like, I get what Farnucci's saying. Like, No, they gave it to me too. Like I'll go for like a physical, and they're like, oh yeah, like. My doctor will like joke, you get hit by a truck, your brains are like splattered, but yet you're still alive, like whatever, like he'll like explain it in a funny way. But yeah, listen, thank you so much for coming on. I think this was a great discussion. I think this was one of our most interesting episodes yet, just because it was like a very thoughtful, inspiring conversation. So we really appreciate having you on.
You're definitely gonna gain some news followers out of this, definitely. And make sure before you go that you put out all the social media that you have out there, including your OnlyFans and where they can get your dirty socks.
Yeah, if you...
Hey, I'm trying to help you.
Oh shit.
That might make her an extra $500. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Wait, do you want me? Was that my cue to like give you my page?
Make your page shameless plug. Go for it.
Persian Skater, just Persian Skater across the board on OnlyFans, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. Persian Skater.
All right, it's pretty easy to remember. I gotta ask, just for ha-has, like, does your Iranian mom know about your OnlyFans?
It's a long talk.
Okay.
I mean, she does, but she doesn't. Like, I broke up with my mom over some stuff, and so
got it. Understood. All right.
Yeah. But she does. I'm sure she does.
Okay. Okay, yeah. But anyway, thanks for coming on, and we'd love to have you on again sometime. And yeah,
that was fun. Thank you for having me. That was a really, really fun conversation.
Definitely.
Thank you for coming on.
And for anyone who's still listening, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Peace.
Peace.